Nagbabalik po ang JUANEUKONEK at ito naman po, dumako na tayo sa last segment, Immigration 101, kasama po si Crystal Dias.
Hi everyone, good afternoon. It's a very sunny Sunday afternoon here in Kent. And thank you, Rose, for introducing me. And I'm happy again to host our segment, Immigration 101. So today we'll be talking about how to change your name on your British passport because a lot of British nationals are now changing their passports. I'm going to show you, this was my old British passport. It actually had the European Union name on there. And now I applied for the British passport. It just says British passport. And I'm going to show you what it looks like. I'm not showing you details. So my my picture there, it's actually quite nice. Here, so it's quite good. So it's easy to apply for a new passport if you are actually just a British national. Not so easy if you're applying for your very first British passport. So say you are a foreign national, you became naturalized, and then you make an application for your British passport. There was a change of name in the middle, in between. And also, if you became a dual national, as you know, quite a lot of Filipinos, when they apply for British naturalization, they actually lose their Philippine nationality when they become naturalized British. So I'm going to talk about the issue aligning names on foreign documents. The Her Majesty's Passport Office published a guidance on this in just a year ago. That was February 2021. It's version 7.0, basically on how to deal with passport applications when the name a passport applies in does not match the name on the foreign document. So, the passport office is asking, so why the customers do have to align their names? And they said they will not issue the customer a passport if they cannot confirm that the customer has one name they use for all official purposes. For example, when the customer applies for a passport and they provide a national identity card in a different name to the one on their passport application, or declare a foreign or other British passport, for example, British National Overseas Passport, in a different name to the one on the passport application. So why they're asking that? Bakit pinatanong ng passport office ito? Because what they said is that they must protect the security of the British passport by preventing, disrupting, and identifying those who change their name to commit crime or avoid detection. Also cannot accept documents that allow a customer to apply for a foreign passport in a different name. So this is going to be quite interesting now. I'm going to introduce to you a very special guest. And she's actually related, married to our co-presenter, Pi Alcantara. So please welcome Carmen Legarda. Hi, Carmen.
Hi, Crystal. Thank you for having me.
And I'm not showing Pi Alcantara. You're just sharing.
Yeah, I had problems with my laptop, so Jean let me share his computer.
Well, thank you for joining the show this afternoon, because you have a very interesting story, and something happened along the way when you applied for dual citizenship.
Yes,
you were a British national, and then you decided a few years ago to become a Filipino national. But tell me in your own words. Tell me what happened.
Okay, so well, actually, when I was 4 years old, my parents separated. My mother moved us to this country to get an annulment, kasi walang annulment noon. This is 1960s, and when I was a teenager, I was able to. We all changed our name via deed poll here in the UK to my mother's maiden name. So everything was fine. All my legal documents are in Lagarda. My British passport is in Lagarda. And then even my Filipino passport was in Lagarda until I did my dual citizenship. And suddenly they insisted on using my birth certificate. And they invoked this article, Article
This was at the Philippine
364.
Embassy. Is that
Yeah, the
right?
Philippine Embassy, yeah. So the Philippine Embassy, it's actually they've been very supportive to me. I have no complaint at all about the embassy. And in fact, even the Department of Foreign Affairs, when I wrote to them, were not sympathetic, but they were just citing the law. I think the problem is the law says that no person can change their name or surname without judicial authority. And so the deed poll that we had way back when I was a teenager, which enabled me to use Lagarda for the last 40 years, suddenly it's not valid. It's not valid in the Philippines. And then the problem also is Article 364, which says that the legitimate and legitimated children shall principally use the surname of the father. So when I became a dual citizenship and applied, the Philippine Embassy used my birth certificate and wanted to use my father's name. And I said, well, I have nothing against my father, but that's not how I identify. And it's interesting that Louis was saying earlier, about Filipino nurses feeling that they need to be identified, have a self-identity, which I totally understand and agree with, because suddenly, after 40 plus years of being a Lagarda, I was being forced to use my father's name, which I said, well, that doesn't make sense, because all my legal documents are in my mother's maiden name for the last 40 years. So I was more excited actually to be a dual national. I didn't make too much of a fuss of it back then in 2015. So I just lived with it for a while. They still kept my name as Lagarda as a concession, and they used my father's maiden name as my middle name. But the problem now is, as you're saying now, Crystal, is when it comes to renewing my British passport, I now have a passport that has a new middle name than the one I've been using for the last 40 years of being British, or actually more than 40, more than 50 plus years of being British. So I'm a little bit nervous about what's going to happen when I renew my British
I can understand.
passport.
Because you have this issue with your Philippine passport, and also you're now scared you're going to have an issue when you make an application for British passport, right?
Exactly.
So you will have to deal with the Philippine issue first before you
Yes.
can deal with the
Yeah.
British issue.
So I found out that in order to change my passport, I actually have my Filipino passport, no?
Yeah.
In order to change the name there, I have to go to a regional trial court. So I have to go to the expense of a court, solicitor, and the time, of course. And I can't see how many people have the time to do that. And also, I don't see why.
We have a letter from the DFA, correct? I don't know
That's
if I
right.
can show the first page. That's it. This is from the Department of Foreign Affairs, because you did something.
Yes, I wrote to
Yeah.
it's called the Office of Treaties and Legal Affairs.
Mhm.
And this was on the advice actually of our Philippine embassy here, who were, as I said, very sympathetic and very supportive. And in a way, and I cited Alanis. Alanis was a case in 2020,
Yeah.
November. The son was brought up by the mother. She was a single mother, and the father more or less disappeared very early on. So he identified very much, as with his mother's surname. So he applied to the regional trial court to choose his mother's surname, and it was rejected. So he went all the way to the Supreme Court, and this time the Supreme Court acknowledged that he had the right to use his mother's name. So, it was quite a groundbreaking decision.
Yes.
I think the Supreme Court said, reading Article 364, which is, the fact that the principally use the surname of the father, using Article 364 together with the state's declared policy to ensure the fundamental equality of women and men before the law, a legitimate child is entitled to use the surname of either parent as their last name. So I thought, well, in that case, that sounds straightforward. Why can't I just use my mother's maiden name? But it turns out the Supreme Court does not have the authority to overwrite the civil code. The Article 364 has to be repealed by Congress. So what the Supreme Court has done is it's given the guidelines of saying, look, this code should be written in fairness to gender equality, and they're sort of recognizing that actually this law is anti-women, it's discriminatory, and it's misogynistic. So,
It's
but
true.
yeah.
I totally agree with that. I mean, the fact is that, yes, fair enough. They recognize, there is they have to acknowledge there's a fundamental equality between men and women, but they didn't go so far as, okay, what we're gonna do about it?
Exactly. Yeah.
It's that's it.
It's so
As you said, you've got to go to court and get a court order to have your name changed.
And you think of all the children of single mothers who are having to go to court just to uphold the honoring their mother's name. Or you think about, for example, in the future, we have to be realistic about the future generations, and even current generations. If you have same-sex partners who have a child, who's going to be the father there, whether it's a man or a woman, same sex? What about our trans people? Why are they being forced to take on their previous sexual identity when they clearly want to have a different one? And there's all sorts of, and then you've got the future generation, which is now happening, not so much in the future, but now, as when people are non-binary and they don't want to be known as him or her, they want to be they or their. So we have to somehow the DFA and the Supreme Court and Congress really has to modernize to accommodate the people. As you were saying before, the law should be for the people and not the people for the law. So I really am struggling with this one, and the only way I could think of was of changing my name of my Filipino passport. I said, is there no way I can change my name? And guess what? They said, yeah, you can. If you get married, you can take the name of your husband. So again, it has to be the man, and again, it's just anti-women and discriminatory. It's just, so if I can get Gene to change his name to Legarda, by deed poll, apply for a Filipino passport as Legarda.
I mean, you're already married, just for the record. You're already married.
Already married, but if I ask
it's just
him,
the way
let's renew our vows, let's get married again. I don't know if he can, but if I can get him to change to Legarda, and we get married, and I can show the Philippine Embassy the marriage certificate with Legarda, my name can be changed because my husband's name is Legarda. I mean, that's how absurd the situation is.
I mean, you have to go through this hurdle before you can even think about applying for British passport, because you're already British. You already have
I'm already British, British
passports. But the thing is, I'm not a dual national, but looking at what the Philippine law is at the moment, they haven't changed it in so many years. They've got to keep up with the times, because they've got to keep up with the changes in the world, what's happening in the world right now. And then, I'm happy that the divorce bill is going through in the Philippines, but the last country to look at
Yes.
the how to dissolve a marriage. I mean, as you said, in the 60s, they didn't even have the solution of marriage. You know, people
No.
had to go abroad to dissolve their marriage, and that's how absurd it was. And I'm glad that the solution of marriage applies to both, you know, men and women in the Philippines. You know, in some religion, it's only one way, or in some culture. But I think though the fact is that we really have to move on. We really have to address this issue because it's quite important. You know what is just happening. The people are going underground. Okay, well I can't afford to change my name
Right.
through the courts. It's very expensive. So what am I gonna do? People are just doing their own thing, changing the name on the certificate,
Oh,
and
right.
of course it's something that you're not supposed to do. But
Yes.
anyway, it's I hope that this is sorted out for you, because as you
Thank
said
you.
to me that it's going to, you have to apply for a British passport soon because it's expiring. And because and I found out, like in France and other countries, is that they don't accept passport that's over 10 years old. So
Right.
that's why I applied for mine. I applied for my
Right.
for my children as well. So I'm waiting. It didn't take long. It took about 2 weeks. Um,
Yeah, normally takes normally it's very fast, but also it's also curious why there's so much emphasis on the name when they have facial recognition, they have holograms on our passports. You know, they've
yeah,
got international databases which they share. I don't
yeah,
really see the hang up. I don't understand the hang up on the name. Because whatever, if
yeah.
we used Mickey Mouse and we went through a passport control, they can see that we're not Mickey Mouse just from our face, no matter what it says on our passport.
It's a modern
So
digital world. Yeah.
yes,
But it
so
is to
I
do with, I can just understand it's fair. It's to do with national security. They have their own reasons, but it's something that we have to abide. But we did have a case study last week, and she's actually our mentee.
hmm,
Basically, Kyla mentioned that she was she had a Philippine passport. She became naturalized citizen, and then she changed her name by default, and she made an
right,
application for British passport, and they didn't accept that. But she made a fuss.
yeah,
She went on social media and everything, and
good
eventually, she was approved. And perhaps something you may want to consider at some point when you
campaign.
apply for a British passport, because it's not going to be easy in your case. Um,
Yeah,
so, but I mean, thank you for sharing that,
yeah,
your
you're very
story, because it's
welcome.
very important that people to know it's not so easy. I have had many inquiries and clients actually coming to me and said, look, Crystal, my passport is this. I got divorced in the UK. They won't recognize it. I already got married in in the UK, but the Philippine embassy won't change my name, won't change my my new married name, because I'm still, married in the Philippines.
Oh, yeah,
It becomes very, very complicated. So,
yeah.
um, any last words that you think that people should know about the change of name, apart from it being, one-sided, is only to do with the paternal affinity, really?
Well, I'm hoping that the Home Office will show, some common sense, as it were, because I can show
Yes.
that a deed poll isn't valid. I understand in the Philippines that a British deed poll isn't valid in the Philippines, so fair enough. But it is valid here in the UK. And hopefully, with the letter I wrote to the DFA, with the deed poll, with my previous British passports, they'll see that I've always been Lagarda, and
Yes.
that it's actually as this new introduction of the stringent use of the birth certificate, which apparently Secretary Locsin said there's no need to use the birth
Mm.
certificate. So that's another question mark. But
Mm.
anyway, good luck to everybody else who's applying and
Yes.
renewing for a British passport. And
Mm.
let's hope there's some common sense in Congress around this and changing a really ancient law. And it needs to be modernized.
You've got to be in the Philippines, Pi, to start the campaign.
Start the campaign. Well, maybe we should start an international one from here.
I
But
think so.
definitely. Thank you very much, Crystal.
Thanks, Carmen Alcantara Ligarda for you. Thanks for joining us.
You're very welcome.
Bye.
Thank you for having me. Bye-bye.
So there you have it, guys. So when you make an application for your British passport, either your first one or you became a dual national suddenly, you have to make sure you have the right documents. So we have here either in order to have your passport, British passport approved, you've got to show you have your naturalization certificate, the passport used to enter the UK, any current or expired passport. On top of that, of course, the change of name, marriage or civil partnership certificates, deed poll, change of name deed, and statutory declaration and affidavit. If you have actually got like Carmen, who has a very complicated case, perhaps it's best to have an affidavit setting out your situation. So that's it for me here in Immigration 101. Back to you, Rose.
Thank you, Crystal. Magbabalik po ang JUANEUKONEK.
Para sa JUANEUKONEK, ako si Pi Alcantara.
I'm Crystal Dias for JUANEUKONEK.
You're still watching JUANEUKONEK. I'm Rosa Clarinal at kasama ko pa rin po Pi Alcantara and Crystal Dias. So Pi and Crystal, masyadong punong-puno at siksik yung hapon natin. First, we had Louis Horn dahil nga dito sa ethnicity recognition na talaga namang kinampanya ng ating mga Filipino nurses. At nagkaroon tayo ng pagkakataong makausap ang mga kababayan natin sa Poland and in Moscow, o di ba? Magkaibang bansa. Yun dapat, Gina, guest natin mula sa Kiev ay syempre hindi natin sila, gipit na gipit sila sa oras because of course ay naghahanda sila at mayroong palaging pangamba. Pero fina-follow natin sa Facebook yung mga accounts ng kababayan natin so that we can deliver the news about our kababayans in Ukraine.
But I think napakahalaga, Rose, ng ginagawa natin, no? At saka, alam ko, ginagawa nyo sa the Fit Channel, sa ABS-CBN. Kasi people want to know what's going on. And who's doing this? Nobody else. Kaya importante dahil na-i-inform natin, nare-reassure natin ang ating mga kababayan, hindi lang dito sa Europa, kundi sa Pilipinas. Di ba?
Oo. Oh, and the important point na nakuha ko kay Neil kanina, yung tungkol dun sa pagpapadala. Kasi syempre OFW yung mga kababayan natin sa Moscow, no? Because of the economic sanctions na pinaulanan din. Nagpaulan ng missile sa Ukraine, nagpaulan din ng economic sanctions ang mga bansa sa pangunguna nga ng UK sa Russia. So syempre apektado talaga yung mga kababayan nating Pinoy. And then, Jean, alam nyo naman na pinupush ni Prime Minister Boris Johnson na tanggalin ang Russia doon sa SWIFT bank system para as a punishment. So kung mangyayari yan at kinakampanya yan sa G7 leaders, di malaking epekto na naman ito sa mga kababayan natin na nandiyan sa rehiyon na yan. No?
Oo, lalo na kasi sa ngayon apektado na ngayon remittances. Di ba? Pag tinanggal yung SWIFT, yan ang mechanism ng pagbabayad sa lahat ng ino-order ng Russia. For example, so mag-import sila, yan ang pambayad. O kung anumang transaksyon. Kaya actually napakabigat din ng sanctions na ini-impose ng West. Kaya yung alam mo yung sabi ng ilang experts, kung tatagal ang giyera ng 10 araw, baka mabangkarote ang Russia. So mapipilitan silang tumigil o talaga makakaroon sila ng problema economically.
Kasi dun sa announcement ni Prime Minister Boris in a couple of days ago, sinasabi niya lahat, freezing of all the banks, Russian banks. Kasama na din dyan yung lahat ng assets ng mga oligarchs na nandito, na may mga negosyo, may mga properties dito sa United Kingdom. At alam naman natin, ang UK ay paboritong bansa ng mga Russians because dito nila pinag-aaral yung mga anak nila, nandito yung kanilang mga negosyo, nandito yung fondness nila ng ating football.
Yeah, that's right.
It's funny you say that in terms of immigration, Rose and Jean, they've actually stopped tier 1 investor. And guess who's the most applicants?
Russians.
Kasi mura lang ang pag may 1 million ka o 5 million o 10 million, pwede ka na makakuha ng visa for you and your family to become residents.
And it's nothing to them. That money is a drop in the ocean. So
Barya lang sa kanila yun.
Barya lang. Pag pinag-usapan natin yung mga oligarchs na naninirahan dito sa UK, kasi naka-interview tayo mga kababayan natin na nagtatrabaho sa mga Russian oligarchs, no? Jean, it's a different world. Grabe, ibang-iba yung buhay nila, ibang-iba yung lifestyle nila. Yung money is not an object. You know? Gusto ko ring banggitin yung very important achievement ng mga kababayan nating Filipino nurses. Ito nga nabanggit ni Louie kanina, no, na talagang ikinampanya, pinagsikapan ng Filipino Nurses Association members, officers at saka ng PNA UK para dito sa ethnicity recognition na ito. And I'm quite happy kasi kakaiba, syempre iba naman talaga ang maidudulot nito sa ating mga kababayang nurses in the UK. It's a form of recognition that we have arrived.
Yeah.
It's rolled out everywhere. You know, whenever I'm actually applying for like my kids' school forms and everything, or whatever it is, they ask, for the survey your ethnicity, and of course Filipino is not there. It's either other Asians or whatever. So I hope nga that this is accurate.
I think Crystal, Rose, ang susunod na step ng mga seniors na yan o siguro ng buong community, no, is to get this done globally. Kasi nagsimula na tayo sa UK. That's a major achievement. Congratulations talaga sa FMA.
Pero Jean, sabi ni Louie is sa England pa lang to. So ang next campaign nila is to bring it on to Wales and Scotland. So dapat maging UK-wide siya para for the nurses there mangyari din ito,
It's not throughout UK yet. It's just England.
Yes,
right.
but that's my point. America walang ganyan. So, 'di ba? They should be campaigning like this also dahil we're everywhere. Mas malaki nga sila doon.
Wala pang ganyan sa Amerika? Wala pa rin.
I don't think so. Nowhere else.
That's really good. So this is magandang nakausap natin si Louie on this kasi napakagandang development nito para sa ating mga kababayan, Very good. Anyways, kumusta kayong dalawa? Alam ko busy tayo because may election sa Pilipinas. Jean, may announcement ka, hindi ka namin makakasama for a couple of months para sa at magbabalik ka sa June?
Yeah, so gusto ko lang medyo may I go out po muna kasi nalalapit na ang election sa atin dito sa overseas. Ang election ay from April 10 to May 9. Kaya yung isang buong buwan na yon, i-cover naman po natin ang election. Normally po dito sa JUANEUKONEK, siyempre non-political po tayo dito. Sa pagko-cover po natin, hindi natin kung malaman kung sino baka may mga tamaan dyan. So, para po walang issue, leave po muna ako sa JUANEUKONEK and I'll rejoin you in June pag may bago na tayong Pangulo.
Alam ko magiging
be missed.
We will be all very busy. It's gonna fly by so quickly dahil sa marami tayong gagawin, Jean. Anyways, maraming salamat sa inyong dalawa. Bago tayo mag-close, I would have to meet some people here na nandito, no? Una, batiin
can I just mention, I don't know if we've talked about this, Rose. Can we just congratulate Rose for winning the presidential award? Yeah.
Yes, yes, of course.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, Rose. And
She's being shy about it, but
teka
no.
muna, nabati na ba natin si Rose sa kanyang bagong role?
Nabati na. Nahiya na
nabati
ako.
na ako.
No, nabati na ako ni Jean. So thank you very much on
Okay.
that for my new role sa TFC. Yung Presidential Awards naman, I'm so grateful at I share this with my One You Connect family because the endorsement of the Philippine Embassy, it was I think initiated by some of the diplomats because of our work during the pandemic. And I wouldn't say naman na the recognition was just because of my work for One You Connect. Dahil hindi ko naman magagawa yung trabaho ko sa One You Connect if I have not been trained as a journalist for decades because of ABS-CBN and the Filipino channel ko. Whatever skills I have as a journalist, as a storyteller, nakuha ko naman lahat yan dahil naman sa pagtatrabaho ko ng dekada sa ABS-CBN. So maraming salamat sa One You Connect for this platform, and of course to my kapamilya sa ABS-CBN, the Filipino channel, lalo na yung mga mentors ko back in Manila.
At saka wag naman natin kalimutan, Rose, na hindi pa natin nakukuha yung ating third award for One You Connect. Sino ba uuwi?
Yes, mga kababayan, maraming salamat po sa suporta ninyo. Talagang nag-uumapaw yung gratefulness, happiness, because yung One You Connect po kontra Corona documentary, yung pinalabas natin sa SOAS at napanood sa DZMM Teleradyo at sa cable channel ng ABS-CBN, nanalo rin po siya sa Migration Advocacy and Media Awards Best Documentary. Nakakataba talaga ng puso. At ang awarding, March 16. Pero sa Pilipinas nga lang po. Kaya hindi pa natin alam. Baka si Jean ay mayroong extra budget at makalipad siya sa Pilipinas.
Medyo ayoko muna kasi wala pa election eh.
Okay. Ako naman, binabalanse pa yung schedule, Jean. Gustong-gusto ko sana, kaya lang hindi pwede. Alam mo naman, maliit pa yung anak ko. Kaya kapag umalis ako, kailangan talaga synchronized yung schedule namin ng asawa ko. So we'll see. Ay, si Tita Adelina Dueñas, congratulations on all your achievements. Tita Adel, maraming salamat. We share it with you for all your help and support. Ikaw ay inspirasyon namin at sa lahat po ng tulong ninyo. Sunny Fernandez, congrats Rose. Salamat Sunny, thank you. Yung mga binabati ko kanina, take note yung mga babatiin nyo rin. Nelly Seran Fami, thank you for watching. Yung mga nanonood dito kanina, maraming salamat po sa pakikinig, pagsusubaybay ng One You Connect. Si Tita Erlinda Montelibano ay nanonood sa atin. Thank you Tita Erlinda for watching. Dan Revelo, nakita ko kanina. Thank you for watching. Pascal Hickey, ang ating kaibigan mula sa Kent.
Pascal and Carmen Hickey from Kent.
Yes.
Oo, at saka si Cecilia Conde Salvani sa Rome yan. Ay, hindi, sa Florence. Sorry, Florence.
Ay, si kaibigan mo, Jean?
Oo, kaibigan natin. Si Darmin sa Belgium. Regular supporter natin.
Oh, thank you.
Can I just announce something? Obviously, this is on behalf of the Philippine Women's Association. We are actually having this virtual celebration of the International Women's Day, Tuesday, 8th of March, 5 o'clock. It's on YouTube and Facebook. Please check out visit the FWA UK Facebook account po yung page namin, so you can see the details. We have brilliant guest speakers, and we have special messages from leaders from different parts of the world. So please do follow us. Thank you.
Okay. And Jean and Crystal, batiin ko din yung mga nanalo tatanggap ng award mula sa presidente for this presidential awards. Marami ngayon from the UK. 8 of us will be receiving, my organizations at saka individuals. So abangan po ninyo sa One You Connect because we had a courtesy call. Kasama po natin syempre ang mga awardees na humarap kami kay Philippine Ambassador to the UK, Antonio Lagdameo. We will share the story here on One You Connect. Konting technical problem lang. Kinover siya ni Kiara, but you will see it in a couple of days. Hopefully, maayos na namin yun. Thank you so much.
Okay, great.
Okay, so Louie Horn, maraming salamat sa iyo. Congratulations sa bago mong post at sa lahat po ng nanood ng One You Connect mula dito sa UK at sa buong Europa. Maraming salamat po. Ako po si Rose Eclarinal. Ito po ang Kwentong Pinoy, Kwentong Migrante, Kwentong One You Connect.
At ako naman po si Jean Alcantara. Nagpapasalamat din kay Pi Ligarda at sa ating mga sa dalawa nating guest mula sa Moscow, si Neil Cabornaitiero at si Joy Salve mula naman sa Poznan, sa Poland.
And I'm Crystal Dias. Thank you once again for joining One You Connect.
Huwag po ninyong kalilimutan, One Home, we have a new episode, one day, back-to-back na story ni Kiara. Very interesting, very exciting. Hanggang sa susunod po natin na live streaming. Maraming salamat at magandang hapon po.
Hanggang sa muli.
Sa One
You Connect.
One, saan ka man dalhin ang kapalaran, iisang bayan lang sa puso mo'y laman, pinagmulan at babalikan, konting tiis na lang at hanggang sa araw na yan ay